Hey guys, Joe here to bring you some good news. That good news is we have a fantastic podcast today. Will and I sat down with our new friend Rebecca, who also goes by the name Bubblesgal0re on the internets, on the social media, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and she is a cosplayer. I saw her do a panel at Derby City Comic-Con last summer. Now, she did the panel with a couple other girls, Malicious Cosplay and Jedi Manda, I think are their internet handles. And their creative process was so complex, and I thought Rebecca would make a great first cosplayer guest. I will apologize. There's some staticky sounds periodically through the podcast. I think it's one of the ghosts in this studio creeping their way into the mic cables. Nothing to be afraid of. Does not hinder the conversation. But I hope you enjoy. Here's episode number 11, Bubblesgal0re.
You are now a loyal follower of the Villain District Podcast.
So you were saying you did your first panel, Derby City Comic-Con last summer. I was there. I was there for both of them. Will was in the back.
I was there for one of them.
I got a seat.
Yeah,
both
I did
days.
not.
And what's interesting is you said you completely didn't expect it, but those rooms were filled out.
And that's actually a very large room for a panel.
Yeah.
And that was probably 100 people.
Mm-hmm. What's interesting is that, I go to a lot of cons, and I like to go to, like, the creator cons. Is that too loud?
No, it's just weird.
It's just weird.
It's just weird. How do I?
I like to go to a lot of the, like, comic creator, writer, pencilist, whatever. And at Derby City, a guy named Tim Seeley was there, and he writes now for Grayson, which is like the new Robin title, and he writes for Batman Eternal, which is like a bigger
sizable
title.
Yeah. Big
So Will
title.
and I, and he did a creator-owned title called Revival, which is a pretty cool thing. But
Yeah.
we go to his panel after we go to your panel.
Yeah.
We were 2 of 8 people.
That's right. That's right. Was that the next day? Was that the following day? I feel like it was.
I guess so.
I'm not sure. Yeah. But it was a similar time of the day, and it was like your panel was slammed.
Yeah.
Like I stood in the back for part of it, and then Seeley was like, it was like we were sitting around and they were like, does anybody have a question, or does anybody want to talk at all?
And I'm like, there's 6 other people here that I don't know. Oddly enough, it was a lot more difficult to ask a question.
Yeah.
With like fewer
people.
It happens. Yeah, a lot of people don't get the kind of credit that they deserve.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
feel like.
Yeah.
And as far as like the cosplay community, all of us have been in it for like maybe 5 years.
Yeah.
Like we're not really established quite yet. Maybe in Kentucky, but not worldwide or even national.
Yeah.
So for someone that is a obviously like well-established creative mind and he doesn't get that much people coming to his panels, that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if he was at like San Diego or something, I'm sure there'd be
sold out, yeah.
Like in Louisville, Kentucky, I mean, there's a decent comic crowd.
There's a big one.
Yeah. But just not for him, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and it's cool. I mean, on the, it sucks that, some creators don't get the sort of credit or audience or whatever. But on the positive side, it's awesome that your all's panel was slammed like that. I mean, that's really cool. That speaks to, I guess, that whole cosplay enterprise is sort of touching a nerve in some way, right?
Or people just liking hot ladies talking to them.
Okay.
Either way.
Yeah.
Either way.
Okay.
So you said you've kind of been in the community for five years or so?
The other ladies that did that with me have.
Okay.
That is Malicious Cosplay and Jedi Manda.
Okay.
But that was actually my 1-year anniversary of cosplay.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
So you're the
nice.
rookie.
Yeah, I'm the rookie.
Nice.
So why cosplay? Like, how do you get into something like that? I mean,
Yeah.
I've tried to like make stuff, and I did like an arrow thing like last year for like
Yeah,
Halloween.
yeah.
And I don't know. It's first of all, it's really difficult to like try and make it. What's the word?
Accurate or good or whatever.
Good, good,
Yeah.
good. But yeah, just the thought of like what sparks that. This is something I want to do. I want to make a page. I want to promote this thing. I want to go to all these cons that I can get to.
Well, my way has been very wayward. So starting out as a young child, just making clothes for myself, like doing that all through high school. In college, I actually wanted to be a musician.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
I went to college for percussion performance.
Oh,
then
wow.
the professor left, and they're like, well, you can teach or you can just GTFO. So I took a couple art classes, and I was discovered by one of the teachers there, and they're like, hey, you really need to do sculpture. And so I did.
Oh,
and I
cool.
got into sculpture, and I had a lot of friends that needed models for photography. So I got kind of into modeling and just doing photo shoots, but not in context of like remaking a character. We did a lot of original character stuff.
Oh, cool.
And I started building things for that. And I'm like, oh, I really like this character and building. And with a sculpture background, it is so much easier for me to make props.
So were you like around here? Were you around town when you did college, or were you? Okay,
yeah.
cool.
I went to U of L. I stayed in Old Louisville, and then I actually lived like right down the street from
Really?
here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Nice. And are you? So you're from here originally, or no?
from Western Kentucky.
Okay.
Cool.
West Side. Nice.
West Side.
Oh yeah, represent. I was listening to your last podcast, and he said Paducah. And I was like, I know where Paducah is.
That place. That's cool. That's cool. So like you started out doing your own characters. Have you sort of like when you're doing a character that's original, if you're going to make a costume, do you do that much anymore? Do you sort of do original characters at this point, or kind of moved on from that?
I do, but not in the same context.
Okay.
So before, when we would do something as an original character, we would either do it for film or for photo only, like no appearances. So we could do all these really disgusting, bulky prosthetics that's just miserable to be in, but we would only be in it for maybe like half an hour to 2 hours.
Yeah.
And getting into cosplay, I still like have prosthetics, but it's much more for a walking around experience. To enjoy yourself at the convention instead of just like
for a
photo shoot.
Spending all day at a convention, it's uncomfortable just to wear civilian
Civilian
clothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've seen some crazy stuff. Like I went to New York Comic-Con this last fall with my dad, and there was a guy. He was wearing like stilts. He was covered in like this big fur thing. To this day, I'm not sure what he was, but I do know that
he was interesting.
It had to be absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
So there has to be some sort of like when you're like making something, right, to have it in the back of your mind, I am going to be wearing this all day.
Oh, yeah. And we'll have things like we'll have daytime costumes and nighttime costumes. So ones that are 18 plus, usually at night. You usually don't wear those for very long either.
Yeah.
And usually those are the most uncomfortable. Or like big flashy ones. I know Kim has her Hawk Girl.
I saw that one last summer. Yeah.
Yeah, and that
has the whole wings and everything.
Yeah, it's great, but
it's
her
awesome.
harness is just so heavy she can't wear it for more than a couple minutes at a time.
Really?
So it would be difficult to fight crime in some of these outfits, is what you're saying.
They're not for practical purposes.
We asked you here to debunk this.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was going to try to wear that and fight a mugger, but I guess I won't then.
No.
Yeah.
Bad call.
Even my Spidey suit's way too big and sags. I'd be tripping over it.
So do you do any kind of like hero cosplay? Like, I mean, hero as in, I'm sorry, let me specify.
Narrow it down.
I've seen you've done like the, you've got the Boba Fett helmet, and that's like a mashup, right?
Yeah, that's a mashup.
The Street Fighter and
Star
Wars.
What's the Street Fighter character's name?
Cammy.
Cammy, that's right. Okay, thank you. That was killing me.
So I guess when I say hero, like I guess that's our term. That's
when
we go to the comic shop, are you going to go to a creator-owned or a hero book, like Marvel, DC, that kind of thing? So like I guess comic book superhero.
I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't want to make myself seem bad, but the very first one that I did was, Hellboy. That's kind of
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, I just
an evil one. Yeah, I did the girl version.
That
nice.
was awesome, by
Yeah.
the way.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of prep time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Yep.
because I did the whole body red and I had prosthetics. And
Yeah, the horns.
Oh, my goodness. I haven't seen that one yet. I got to see that. Yeah, the sliced off horns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then
great.
I did a gender bent Aquaman.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
But I don't really talk about that one much.
Yeah, well, it's we're not anti-Aquamans here.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
We're we're nerdy enough to where like we don't think talking to dolphins is
No discrimination.
bad-
Yeah, of course. No, that's great.
plus like Aquaman in the 90s,
Yeah.
dude was bad.
How about now? Did you see the new one?
Mhm.
Oh, my
yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. I think I think they essentially based that one off the 90s Aquaman.
That long hair
The
and
long
like
hair,
the
he had
gnarly
the beard,
Yeah. Mhm.
this big shoulder piece right here, but he still has the scales and he does still talk to dolphins. But
Sure.
And
Hey.
sharks.
And sharks.
And sharks. Yeah, the sharks.
I saw a meme the other day, and I'm going to butcher this,
Okay.
but it was a meme, and it said something like, "My powers are useless," they said. Okay, and it's a picture from a comic book with Aquaman and a bad guy and a giant shark just like clamping onto this guy. Like, it's not useless.
Not useless. No,
not at all.
You just have to lure your villain to the sea.
Well, it's not like he gets very far from the sea.
That's
anyway.
true. That's true.
true.
Any problems you're going to
He's
come
the
into.
king,
Yeah,
baby.
exactly. Yeah, for sure. So actually, that raises a question for me then. Like, how much? I know there's a crazy amount of overlap, right, between this sort of comic book fandom and then like sort of cosplay world and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I don't really know what my question is. Do you situate yourself? Obviously, you do cosplay, but are you in that sort of? How would you sort of describe your fandom? Are you into sort of anime or comic books or sort of all of it or video games or
Like,
what
do you have
sparks?
an
what-
expertise?
yeah,
Like,
I mean, like what sparks your interest in terms of, what kind of characters you gravitate toward or?
I do a lot of gaming.
Oh, cool.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. So we just had LAX this weekend, the Little Arcade Expo.
Yep.
I was out there representing Bubsy.
I saw that. It was fantastic. Yeah.
That was kind of like a bet that we had going.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of. It was just like the guys, Pixel Brain Productions. They're like a local production company. They go to different cons. They make sort of like weekend overall
Sure.
videos and
Oh, okay.
Probably
cinema.
do, but
You've
yeah.
probably seen their
Yeah.
videos
Yeah.
at least. Yeah, and they were saying something like they had a Bubsy meme that they posted, and it said, "What could possibly go wrong?" And everyone's like, "Oh, I hate Bubsy." I was like, "I love that game."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, why don't you do a Bubsy cosplay then?" And then I looked online, and it's like Bubsy cosplay, and there's this really hot girl, like in this really tight dress, and I was like, "I think I could do that."
Yeah.
Pull that off.
That's like Aquaman 2.0, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
That's cool. So a lot of gaming characters and themes and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
I did Chell Portal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've done Catherine from Catherine the Game.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have
It's
not
a little
played
bit
that.
more obscure.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to dig some of this stuff up.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah. And then the Street Fighter
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars mashup.
Is mashups like a common thing? Do cosplayers do that quite a bit, or?
Like in music, mashup.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in what was that? Pitch Perfect. Did you see Pitch
Oh,
Perfect?
yeah.
The mashup like competition they had.
I didn't see it.
No, come
I need
on.
to.
man.
I know, right? I'm sorry, everybody.
Okay,
Anyway.
I know what you're talking about.
she knows.
It's kind of divided because you get, like, for example, Street Fighter, the official one, actually shared a picture of mine and Kim's costumes together from
Oh, nice.
MagFest.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, on their Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, this is great, or I hate mashups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite mean quotes that's just funny. It was some guy, and he said, "Gender bends are okay, but mashups, those are just lazy." Like, what are you talking about?
What does that mean?
Who makes these rules? Where's the rule book?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a rule book?
There are no rules.
No, that's art.
Except you can't show naughty places.
Right.
Okay.
That's the one rule.
That's just kind of a rule for going outside, though,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
in general.
So you've studied this stuff in school. So you're like,
I studied building.
I didn't study anything in school, but I'm an audio engineer somehow.
There you go. Hey.
But that being said, like, you know what you're doing. So do you do like commissions or anything like that?
Occasionally.
Occasionally?
Mm-hmm. I mostly do them for friends.
Okay.
Usually friends are closer, so I can, if they need to be fit for something, then I can go over to their house and it wouldn't be weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do a lot of commissions otherwise.
Right. I guess that would be somewhat difficult, like somebody like, I don't know, in Oklahoma or something. Like,
Well, if you're a seamstress and you're like a studied seamstress,
right.
then it's a lot easier to,
Mhm.
be like, oh, okay, these are your measurements. This will fit
Yeah.
and mail
Yeah.
it off. I have a
No,
friend
that
that
makes
can do
sense.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm definitely a prop builder. So
Right.
if you're like, my arm is this long, I
Yeah.
need a knife this long,
Yeah.
then I could
No,
make that.
you have an Etsy shop too, right?
Yep.
So you do like what are like Zelda boxes? Is that what they were?
Yeah, treasure chest. Yeah.
Treasure
Treasure
chest.
chests.
Yeah.
That's my livelihood.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's very
So
cool.
like it's that like booming then.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
It has its slow seasons.
Sure.
Sure.
But between that, just doing conventions, sometimes I get paid if I work for a booth.
Oh, cool.
What else? Prop commissions. Pixel Brain has gotten me to do some of their props for their show. They have a web series called Bagged and Board.
Oh,
I'm doing
nice.
the props for that.
Nice.
Getting paid.
Making money. Are you planning on doing any? Are you doing Derby City again this summer?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we'll be
cool.
there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about doing a Daredevil thing
That'd be awesome.
for
Yeah.
this con, and it's like it's nerve wracking to think that I have no idea what I'm doing, and that I'd be like. But last year there was a duct tape Captain America. I don't know if you recall duct tape
No,
Captain
so,
America
yeah,
last
I
year.
did.
Actually, if I recall, he asked a question, or someone asked a question during your panel, and they said, I think they were asking how to make like a Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
And he said, well, actually, you could just take a cardboard box and throw some duct tape on
Yeah.
it. Like, this guy is awesome.
Yeah, you could do that.
You could do that.
if you wanted to.
Yeah, I remember
funny.
that. Some girl, she was really wanting to know, and he was like, just duct tape.
Duct
Yeah.
tape
Like,
it. No, wait. But how do you make it look like it's not made out of duct tape? Is the question, right? That should be the real
Right.
question. Like,
I
that's
don't think
one
he
way.
cares.
No, he's
No,
not
he's
worried
like
about
it.
it.
He's not
Yeah,
worried about
he's.
it. I want to say that somebody said that he was, the year prior was duct taped somebody else.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I don't
know
remember.
if he's like a regular or whatever, but
Oh,
Yeah.
he's a regular.
oh, okay, yeah, Yeah.
He's the
Nice.
duct tape
Maybe
guy.
he did that duct tape prom thing and just couldn't get out of it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, wasn't there like a scholarship for that or
Yeah.
something? Yeah, that's a great way to get some educational money. Yeah, I think that like if you made your suit or your dress
Yeah.
out
And
of
the
duct tape.
If you entered a
Wow.
competition,
Was it like duct tape, the company that did that? Do
yeah, you
all
had to
know?
use official brand duct
Oh, really?
tape.
Yeah.
Or duct tape.
Gotcha. Not
Yeah.
duct tape.
Not duct
Like, this isn't
tape.
necessarily for ducts.
Uh-huh. It's for ducks.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Ducks and people that are just into ducks.
Yeah, of course. Of course. So like when you're doing a con, you said sometimes you'll get paid if you work a booth or something. Is there a different way? Because like when I go, like, when I went to Derby City, I registered as a civilian, human that wants
Yeah.
to go in and look through the boxes of comics. But how do is it different? Like, do they register cosplayers different, or is it different for different cons, or?
It just depends on what level that you're attending the convention at.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So
that makes
last
sense.
year I was a civilian as well, even though I was doing the panel. I
Yeah.
didn't get in, which is kind of weird because usually if you do a panel, then you can get in for free. They
Sure.
give you a free badge.
Derby City, come on.
I know,
I'm writing a letter.
The writing.
but it was okay. It
Yeah.
was at least it's worth the money. It isn't one of the cons out here that's outrageously priced. Then you go in and is not worth it.
Right. Well, I remember going in there, and just as a comic book fan, the number of comics that like great price comics and trades and stuff they had, like, it was a really good size for the city. I felt And they did have some, Tim Seeley was here.
Yeah, for sure.
And they had a
some
lot of
names.
great local talent too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I have some friends that do comics, and they were out there,
Oh yeah,
and they're really nice.
what's their name or
Ben Sears?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
What are the comics called, or do you know like the?
I don't know. I just
Not
know
sure?
him as my
Yeah.
friend
Oh,
Ben
just your
Sears
friend.
that
Yeah,
makes
of course.
comics.
Well,
Yeah,
shout out to Ben Sears.
They
and his
have like
comics.
a little local section at Great Escape, which is a place that we frequent quite a bit.
I bet if you look for stuff,
Yeah,
it's there. Yeah.
probably there.
Sweet. So like you can go from the level that Joe would be at. I would be even farther out from Joe's level. I would be
know
even
how to
more.
sew,
Yeah,
so
he helped me with a
I
Captain
learned.
America costume because I gave up. Essentially, I was like, I can't do this. Hands in the air, and he swooped in. As
Saved the day.
the arrow and fixed it, sewed it. So like you have people ranging from all sorts of levels of commitment, I guess, right?
Yeah.
What's that sort of, or is there a sort of dividing line between people who you kind of see them and you're going, well, it's nice that they're having fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
people who are like, oh, that's a part of the community. That's someone who's sort of an insider or whatever, right?
There is no fine line.
Sure,
But
yeah.
I definitely get that feeling. You have some people that are really serious about it. They want to make everything complete fabrication head to toe. And then you have other people that just look really good wearing something that they bought offline. And then you have other people that are just like, all right, I have like a soda can and some duct tape.
Captain America. Yeah.
Which, great job, buddy. Keep it
I
up.
hope that guy is listening.
Yeah.
If so, we want you on, sir.
Yes, please.
We'll take
Yeah.
pictures together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. At New York Comic Con, it was a big thing because cosplay is getting more popular. It's like a snowball effect, right? And the first day we got there, first of all, there were signs being passed out everywhere that said cosplay does not equal consent. So, like, it was a big thing that you couldn't just take pictures of cosplayers without asking them
Yeah, you have
first.
to ask.
Yeah.
And also, apparently, like, they haven't been doing this very long, but in New York, they were taking away almost all props. Like, there was a big garbage can.
You can't take them to New York, and you
Yeah.
also
Wow.
can't. You can hardly take any to Boston.
Really? There was a garbage can, like one of those,
Yeah.
like, if whatever you think of as a garbage can in a cartoon, it looked like that.
Yeah.
It's so depressing. I've seen
It
the
is.
photos.
Yeah.
It's like people that have spent months and months making these things, especially like the forged steel ones, and they
Oh,
just
yeah.
get taken
Oh,
away,
jeez.
and you can't. Usually, they don't let you go back.
Really?
Or if you want to go back and put them in your hotel room, it's New York. You're not
Yeah.
close to the convention.
No.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can go and pick them back up, or if it's sort of like,
Yeah, I mean, plus it's
It just
like
sucks.
that convention center is pretty much in Hell's Kitchen.
Okay.
So, like, Daredevil's down there.
Yeah, of course. So that's fun, but
So each morning, and especially the night my dad and I would walk to the convention center, it was like I was wearing a black hoodie, I put my hood up, and
Yeah.
I was trying to look like I was
Like
trying to
you're
blend
ready.
in.
Like
you're
you
ready
fit in.
for it.
Well, I was walking toward the convention center, and here's my dad, and he's kind of like walking around with a Superman shirt on, and I'm trying to look all like, don't mess with me, I'm a New Yorker. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm
That's a
Kentucky.
good stereotypical accent, though.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's like if you were a New Yorker and you were like, well, I'm trying to be like I'm
Right.
from Kentucky.
I wasn't
like that.
I wasn't sure where I was going with it. It just came out that way. But I was proud of myself because I was walking across the street, and a woman who looked like a local steered clear of me. She did a circle around me. I'm like, okay, I'll be fine up here.
I'm okay. Yeah.
I'm okay. I don't have
safe.
a forged steel sword, but if I did, they would take it from me.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
So you're unprotected. That's interesting. I mean, when you said the cosplay doesn't equal consent thing, I mean, to what extent in your, and this may be total projection, I don't know that much about the cosplay community, right? But some factor of it is these are attractive people, whether men or women, right? Not all of them, not all characters are made up, but that typically they sort of idealized.
The guy with the
humans.
stilts and the fur was not an attractive person.
Okay.
He was awesome, but
yeah. But I mean, I've seen some, I guess not Spider-Man, but I've seen some Captain Americas and some Batmans who are like, super beefy buff guys,
Right.
and then women who are dressed in like, you know, as these sort of idealized forms. To what extent is that a problem? Like people just coming up snapping pictures of you, or like doing things that are sort of over the line. Is that a problem in the cosplay community, or is it pretty?
I also think that kind of depends on what level you're at also.
Okay.
So if you have more attention, like if you have more fans, then more people are going to notice you just because you have more fans. Not necessarily because you're more idealized.
Yeah,
but generally they are.
Yeah.
And
but it's because you're you, and it's not necessarily because of the character.
Yeah,
or
it's
whatever.
not necessarily because of the character or just because you look great.
Yeah.
So a lot of people like to harass people that they know, actually.
Really?
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. But I haven't had that many issues with people being creepy.
Yeah.
I have always had people come up, not ask me for photos, and take photos of me.
Yeah.
And if I turn around, they just they keep taking photos. I'm like, man, don't be a weirdo.
Yeah.
Just ask me. I'll stand still.
Yeah.
But I like to try to nip that in the bud. And if someone's like, fishing their phone out of their pocket, I'll be like, oh, do you want a photo?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just sort of
Just
stop that
Yeah.
before it gets weird.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's funny. That's a funny way to put it.
But I've had some friends that have been like, I don't want to say physically assaulted, but just, been felt up by creepers. But
Yeah.
I kind of feel like if, you need to, it's like when you're at a bar, it happens all the time for girls at bars.
Sure.
Especially if you're dancing. And that doesn't make it okay.
Sure,
But that's, I don't know. I feel like you already kind of expect it at a bar.
Sure.
But whenever you're in costume and it's daytime
and,
it's
you're-
in public
Yeah.
and people do it, it's just like, what? There's no
Yeah,
it's like-
reason.
That's kind of crazy. To think
That is
about it,
crazy.
like-
I don't understand that.
What-
I didn't mean to be a bummer. I was just really curious about that, right? I mean, like,
what,
Yeah.
What? No, you good.
no, I was just gonna say, I was just curious about it.
What chemical thing snaps in your head that makes you think like
Yeah,
this seems reasonable?
that's a good idea. Yeah, of course.
Well, it's sort of just like the U.S. and having a rape culture. It's like, oh, this girl got raped, and the first question is like, oh, what was she wearing?
Oh, right.
You know, they blame the victim, and it's so common for our culture.
Sure.
You don't really think about why did he do that. It was
Sure,
like,
yeah,
oh,
of course.
it was whatever she was wearing.
Yeah. And that's a huge, systemic problem. But
And I wonder if it has anything to do with if you're dressing as like a familiar character, there's probably going to be some sort of disconnect between you as a person and the character you're playing, right?
Oh, definitely.
yeah, I mean, I wonder to what extent that might be true. And from what you said, it sounds like it hasn't at least been a huge problem in your experience, which is great. But I wonder to what extent people, and even on a less intense level, do people seem like they have a sort of if they know the character, then they sort of have a familiarity with you in some sort of way.
They
You know
feel
what I
like
mean?
they know me.
Really?
Like they know
Okay.
my backstory. If it's from comics, they've
Yeah.
been reading it since they were 6.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they already know me. I'm like, hey, man.
If you're cosplaying a character that you're really into like the look of the character, you know a little bit about the character, but you're not like die hard. I know their like birthday, that
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of. Do you feel the need to like do extra research before like a con because of like maybe some sort of like that guy is going to
Yeah.
come up? Did you know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, just like basically just questioning you about.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do impressions of me. Don't do impressions of me on the podcast.
Actually,
Actually, sorry.
No, I had people do that for me for my Aquaman. Because I was actually like a gender bent Aquaman.
no one knows
and-
anything about Aquaman.
I know. But someone came up and they're like, oh, hey, Aqualass. I'm like, who?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
What?
They're like, oh, yeah, you came out in episode this. And I'm like,
Oh my goodness.
no. But okay.
No.
But people do especially at these comic conventions, especially Louisville, I've noticed, just because in Louisville, we're not so geared towards new comics. We have a lot of comic collectors. We have old diehard fans.
Yeah.
Die hard.
And they just want to one-up you. They want to
Oh,
be
really?
like, oh, this chick doesn't know anything about this fandom. Let
Yeah,
me
it's-
show her up in public.
It's the whole nerd girl thing. Like, I guess the argument that if you haven't earned your place, it's like the punk rock thing, right? Like, you're not really punk rock.
Your parents have money.
Right, exactly.
You're not punk rock.
I mean, anything...
You've
that-
never killed anybody.
Yeah. your record's clean.
That's right. Yeah.
But that being said, like, in my opinion, anything that I guess helps keep the comic book, the comic shop thing afloat is a positive, right?
Oh, yeah. And I feel the same with cosplay. A lot of people do make their own costumes, and a lot of people buy their own costumes.
Yeah.
And the only beef that I have with it is that if you're entering a handmade contest and you have something store-bought, it happens every single time.
Right.
Totally.
Every time. Some people win, too.
Wow.
Yeah, really.
That
Yeah.
just sounds like a common sense thing.
Yeah.
Like,
It sounds like it, but if you could spend a lot less money and enter
Yeah.
and win thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
then some people think it sounds like a good idea.
That's super
But-
frustrating.
Yeah, it is. But what I like to say about it is that you can buy your costume, and if you want to enter contests, that's fine, but try to buy your costumes from cosplayers.
Oh, okay.
Like, try to support your community.
right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, just because you didn't make the costume, somebody else did. It's like...
You're
it's like-
giving another cosplayer a job.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the best of both worlds, I think, rather than buying it from eBay that
Yeah.
comes from
Yeah.
the children in China.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
or just don't enter a competition. If like,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, because
go and enjoy the con.
I
Like,
was gonna say, if you want to do that on a super casual level, right? I mean, like, I imagine you may not not sort of enter any competitions.
No.
If you go as Daredevil, right? You just walk the floor and
I mean,
enjoy it.
Yeah.
if so, it would just be to say I did it. It wouldn't be because
Sure.
I thought my
Sure.
cosplay
Oh, yeah.
was good.
So for you, like, your impression of the community is like that level is totally fine as long as you're not sort of passing it off as something that it's not. Like,
Right. Yeah. So if, for example, if you made a costume or if I made your costume and you entered the contest, I would be kind of ticked off,
Yeah.
especially if you won.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But some people actually tag team and do it.
Oh,
and
yeah?
they'll split the prize money between
Oh,
the
cool.
person who made it and the model.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
But that's a gray area. I just don't do competitions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I do it whenever my friends are like, all right, well, I'm being the judge, so you're going to have to sit in the audience, or you could go ahead and try to enter.
Yeah.
And I think there's too much red tape with favoritism. So
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
usually I just sit out.
So you're saying it's like anything else? Like everything is so like tainted by that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We used to play like battles of the bands all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And like that one, like those kids that came with all of their buddies from high school
Mm-hmm.
always won.
Oh, of
and they were
course.
just, they were terrible.
And
And,
that's- That's. I mean, that's
and
how
we were
it
trying
went,
so
you know?
hard,
Yeah.
like, and we were the best band there.
Oh, clearly. Yeah. Of
Absolutely.
course. Of course.
Yeah, every
Injustice.
community has that kind of politics.
Sure. Yeah.
I just like to smile and be nice and try to avoid confrontation when possible
Yeah.
Yeah, I
with
mean,
all that kind of
Sounds like a good way to be.
yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you're trying to like, I don't know, move on up, I guess. I mean, all the advice I've ever heard about, especially in a business relationship, like, don't talk crap about people.
Yeah. So
I've-
yeah. No, go
I
ahead.
feel that I would never say anything about a convention.
Yeah.
Might recall something bad that happened at a convention, but I'd never just diss the convention, even if I got screwed over.
Sure.
Like they said they were going to pay me and they didn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say anything bad about that. But if it's about a specific person, like they did something that people needed to know, like
yeah.
Sure.
yeah, at a convention I went to earlier this year, there was a photographer that was invited as a guest, but he had reportedly been taking very lewd pictures of people without their permission
Oh, geez.
Oh, wow.
and doing like upskirt stuff, and the community just exploded.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Get
Yeah.
that guy out
Yeah.
of there.
Oh yeah, so there's definitely a time and place for it, but it's on a strange scale because cosplay, you have your local cosplay, you have your convention cosplay, and then you have cosplayers. So it's like it's so intertwined and kind of difficult to find out your your placing in all of it.
Yeah. For sure. How big that actually raises a question I wanted to ask, which is how big is the local community? Because I mean, I've seen it sort of, from the outside, right?
And for,
with distance,
honestly,
but
what I know of it is are those panels I went to. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Because I'm obviously not plugged in because I would just be really bad at it.
Yeah.
Well, we have, I guess, just different levels. Again, you have people that only go to conventions that are local, and sometimes they spend all year making their costumes, and they're like really geared up for that one competition at Derby City Comic Con.
Sure.
And you have people like me and Malicious Cosplay and Jedi Manda, and we go across the country and we just I don't want to say tour.
But that's fine. You can say that.
Yeah. But we go to conventions in different states and try to get as much publicity as we can.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I would say there are a couple of us, maybe like 15, that it's what we do almost every weekend.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Not necessarily just conventions, but also doing like princess parties, and like I would say a strong 15 for we are in costume almost every single weekend.
Wow. That's kind of fantastic.
Yeah, that is. That's awesome.
Like,
so
like something I had no idea.
Yeah. Are there some seasons where it's just like go, go, go? Like, are there
Yeah,
times
it's
of the
con
year
season.
where
It's go season right
it is
now.
now?
Yeah.
I was going to say,
wow.
it's warming up.
Yeah. Does it happen like sort of over the sun? Like when the weather's warm, that would seem to be when people are getting out and doing stuff more anyway. So
yeah, a lot of people PAX East. That just happened over the Louisville Arcade Expo weekend. That is the con.
Oh, really?
That kick starts the con season, and then it usually goes to, depending on East Coast or West Coast, it goes to August. Ends with New York Comic Con or Dragon Con for us.
Yeah.
We've talked about just kind of pinpointing some, somewhat, like my dad and I are going to C2E2 this year. We've never been to that one. I think every year we're just we started off with San Diego and then New York and then C2. We're kind of like, okay, that took a long time to get there.
Yeah.
Let's go to New York. And then now it's like Chicago, and then it'll probably be like Cincinnati or something. And then just ending up here.
Narrow back down, yeah.
Like we talked about just as comic book fans going to like the Cincinnati cons, or I don't know if Indianapolis or like kind of the bigger cities. I don't know if Nashville. They all probably have something, right?
I can name at least 2.
Oh, really?
In India and Nashville.
And you go to those?
I go to, I usually go to Gen Con in Indy. Last year I worked a booth up there. That was my very first time working at a booth.
Oh, wow.
It was great. They invited me to go back with them to Dragon Con.
Cool.
And that was great.
And where's Dragon Con?
Atlanta.
Okay, cool.
And this year I would go to Gen Con, but we got asked, me, Malicious, and Jedi Manda, we got asked to be guests at con in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Cool.
That'll
So,
be cool. Are you flying or driving?
Driving. Yeah,
Nice.
Just because we have props.
It's like being in a band or something.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, definitely.
We can't fly because of our amps and our drums.
Yeah. Yeah,
and-
for sure. So what are the costumes that you're working on for that, if I can ask, unless that's not...
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, exactly.
We haven't really decided for sure,
Okay.
but it is more geared towards gaming again.
Okay.
And I was thinking of doing Sheik from Zelda.
Okay.
Nice. Cool.
And
know that one.
Yeah, we were talking about, this is a spoilers. I don't know if we'll do it, but we're talking about doing Peach, Daisy, and Rosalina Playboy bunnies.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
nice.
That would be pretty funny.
That would be good. So, I mean, I'm sure each costume is probably going to take, drastically kind of different amounts of time. But like on average, like I know you said you haven't, picked stuff for certain cons yet. And for me, like, I don't know, I feel like maybe you work better under pressure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But how long generally would something Okay, let's make it difficult. Let's talk difficult.
With props, without props.
Let's for example, let's talk the hot girl with Malicious. Like, how long would it take her to make something that intricate?
I think she has an hour count, actually. But I don't know. She likes to try to keep track of all of her progress.
Yeah.
So she takes a ton of photos and logs hours and all that.
Wow.
And I just go at it really hard for like 2 days.
It's
like
you just make
48
it.
hours. I knock it out in 2 days. I made my Street Fighter mashup in 2 days.
Oh,
The
Wow.
whole thing.
So it's like prepping for an exam.
Yeah.
You just like...
Well, it goes back to sculpture. It's like I work better with pressure and deadlines.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I made Catherine in one night, and it doesn't mean anything to
No,
you
it
guys.
doesn't.
But I'll show you. I'll show you.
I'm still
yeah.
impressed.
Well,
I made a Tetsaiga sword from Inuyasha, which you guys probably don't know.
I don't.
It's taller than I am.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Probably more wide at the top too. I made that in maybe 6 hours.
Yeah.
And what would you make that out of?
Foam.
Just foam?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I was gonna say, you guys were talking about like stuff like, what was it called, Warbler,
Yeah.
and all these different, like, you have to be like, it sounds like you really have to know what you're doing to do some of this stuff.
Yeah,
know?
you do. People think that it's cheap too. They like jump
Sure.
in and they're like, "Oh yeah, I
Oh,
want
yeah.
a full Diablo 3 warrior like armor suit." I'm like, no.
I have.
I'll pay you $20.
My budget's
I'll
$30 to
feed you.
$50.
Yeah, my budget is $30 to $50.
I've
And a couple of burritos.
I have had some people ask me for full jumpsuits for like $50. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that doesn't even cover fabric,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
or time.
Yeah.
So, what's the most you've spent on like a single costume?
That's hard to say. That's really hard to say, just because I don't. Usually, I buy things in small increments
Sure.
just to make it easier.
And you
Yeah.
just kind of have stuff like
Yeah.
that you. That makes
that
sense.
I draw from, yeah.
Mhm.
So usually I'll do like one big order of wigs, and that might cost me $200, but I have every wig that I will ever need for the rest of the year, and probably some
Right.
for the next. Contacts, last year I spent $60 on contacts. I got 4 pairs of contacts, and that was like, that's good for a year.
Do you normally wear contacts, or like? I mean, like,
It depends. Like, I don't really like to wear contacts because I don't need them
right.
anyway. But I have really light eyes, so it's really, if I cosplay people with blue eyes, it's great.
Yeah.
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 And I generally do, just by coincidence. And if I need to change them, I might wear contacts for a couple of hours, but I don't wear them in all day like some
Sure,
people.
yeah. Like the eye color, that's pretty specific. I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that specific.
Yeah. You're not going to worry about what
You're
color.
not on the level.
I'm not on
He's
the
not
level.
on the
You're
level.
Daredevil. You
Exactly.
don't,
Right.
You don't even
Yeah,
need
I
your
don't-
eyes.
Just cover them up.
up. Yeah.
So basically, what I'm trying to say is, I'm down here, and I'm hanging out with all the. What's that term?
Duct tape Captain
I
America.
was going to say.
I'm hanging out with duct tape.
Amateurs.
The amateurs. Well, my plan was, I even made a mold of my face,
Yeah.
like the whole, but like the way it kind of dried.
She's like, yeah, of course you did.
I just
You're
did
like,
that.
I even did that.
My face is. I've got my face is actually a lot bigger than it probably looks. I have a pretty big head,
Yeah.
but my mold didn't look quite right. It's a little like, I feel like when the mold, like, you have the pink stuff, whatever that is, or maybe it's a different color. I'm colorblind, so
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be pink, it might be gray.
It doesn't matter what color it is. What was the brand?
I
Do
don't
you know?
know.
Do you know what was it silicone? Was it latex?
It was the okay. First you okay.
Did you use smooth on?
We're slowly revealing
Was it
the
a
level
two-part
that Joe is
mixture?
on.
So you rub the
Release.
stuff, yeah, on your face.
Did you use Vaseline or an actual release?
Yeah, Vaseline.
Okay.
And it got completely stuck. Like, we went like to the back of my head here, and oh, you wouldn't believe trying to pull that out of my hair.
I would. I've done that. Yeah.
And then the stuff, the goopy stuff you pour on that is. I'm so sorry.
Keep going.
No, this is good.
The goopy
This is
stuff
a good
that you put on your
podcast right
face.
here.
Yeah. I'm sorry, everyone. But You pour the goopy like rubbery stuff on your face, right? And then you put the strips, the plaster
bandages,
strips, and then you just put a lot of those. Then you sit there trying to breathe out of your nose, and it's actually quite calming.
Yeah,
you would think I thought I was going to be very claustrophobic.
Yeah, it seems claustrophobic.
We should make one for you, dude.
All right,
I actually had the same thing because I was worried that I was going to feel really claustrophobic. Mm-hmm. Like I don't really like wearing masks.
Sure.
It kind of freaks me out. So I did it, and it was fine. Yeah,
it was.
We'll put you to the test.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's like maybe like from start to finish, like 20-30 minutes.
Oh wow!
I don't remember.
If that.
Yeah. So then, like, whenever we actually ended up pouring the plaster into the thingy, right? The mold. I guess when it was drying, like, it kind of did this thing, so my face is like kind of squished. But I said all that to say that my girlfriend's, she used to be an art major, is no longer. But when she kind of discovered this world of, wait, I can like use these art skills to make something and then like feel, it's like a rewarding thing once it's finished and like people see it, right? So she was helping me like sculpt this mask out of clay, and then she was going to like, oh God, I don't. What? Cast it. Can you tell us what I was going to do? Because I don't know. And then at the end of the day, like it just didn't get finished. So I went to a costume shop, right? And I bought one of these kind of masks, but it was like it was kind of fabric-y, but it was really hard. And then I drew the mask on there, and I cut it out, and then I painted it, so it still had like a texture.
You drew like a domino mask on
like basically
a full face mask.
Yeah, it was the season 2 Arrow mask style thing, and it turned out okay, but I really wanted to go like all the way, like so where you can like carve the little. He's got like these little arrow things right here, and I didn't do it. I duct taped it at the end of the day.
Shame.
Well, but this year, this year is going to be.
This
different.
is the year.
Are you going to make a full cowl? You should have went ahead and just cast the back of your head too.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't know how to go about. We just watched YouTube videos on how to do it. That's what I do. There you go.
Yeah.
Is that one of those things where, like, once you do it, like when you're casting your head, once you cast your head, you've cast your head, like you're done?
Yes.
Is that a thing?
But if you can break your mold.
Okay.
So.
Oh, that's not just a metaphor that people use.
No, it's real. if you make your mold and then you break it before you actually get a cast out of it, then you're kind of screwed.
Then yeah.
Or if you want more than one and you break your cast, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we just cast my face for a zombie. You guys wouldn't know. I forget you're not my best friends and you haven't followed my page. Like, okay, so
I liked your page.
Oh well, there you go.
I'm a like.
There you go.
I clicked on it. I did
one
the
of
thing.
1,200.
I know. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
It's like it's skyrocketing.
Yeah, especially last month with Street Fighter sharing us. But one of the very first photos that I posted, like about this time last year, was a zombie pinup shoot that we did for Valentine's Day. We entered a competition. We won. I'm still their cover photo on their page.
Nice.
Yeah. And we cast my face to do a better prosthetic because the last one was on this guy's face who had a weird shaped face anyway. And whenever we put it on mine, it was so just disgusting with how much glue we had to glop on to try to get this to fit.
Yeah.
So we cast my face this year right before we were going to shoot. And then we emailed them and they're like, hey, you going to do this again? And they're like, do what?
Oh, we forgot about that.
Yeah, so they didn't have it this year.
Oh, okay.
But I do have a cast of my face now. It's kind of nice.
Well, that's good.
Well, if you ever want to make a domino mask or something, I wouldn't know how to tell you how to finish it.
Exactly.
Go to the comic shop, or I'm sorry, the costume shop.
As a costumer, you find out when it's best to fudge and when it's best to make. a lot of things. It's like you could just go to the store and buy a fake gun and paint it, and it looks just like the gun.
Right.
Or you can you can use your dad's lathe and try to sculpt this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's one of like you have to pick your battles. Like,
is there a lot of overlap between like? I'm asking all these questions about communities and things, but like I'm curious. I hear a lot about like maker communities.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of overlap there because I listen to like one of the podcasts I listen to is the Adam Savage from Mythbusters, right?
Tested.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, exactly. You're with it.
She knows.
And of course he doesn't focus so much on costumes. He focuses more on props and stuff like that. But is there a big overlap between the sort of maker?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because there's a good level of engineering in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh yeah. Personally, I always thrive to be a mix between Adam Savage, Martha Stewart, and Kesha.
Okay.
there you
which
go.
is interesting.
That's what you call a trifecta.
That's
Yeah.
right.
The Trinity.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of people are in that maker community.
Yeah.
But some people that are just seamstresses aren't. So it just depends on what your strong suits are. How, like, if you just want to be in part of the costuming community and you don't want to venture out and learn how to build things, like some people just aren't made to make things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, oh, well, this is about this big, and okay, this goes here, and some people are like, what? They're just staring at you, like, no, I promise, if you just do it, it'll work.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's kind of like if you're tone deaf, you can't sing.
Yeah.
Like you can just kind of visualize like a 3-dimensional space in your head, and like you just fix. Like my roommate Jake, he's trying to get into the whole makers thing because he does woodworking.
Yeah.
And
What's
he's
his last name?
Jake Kelsey.
Yeah.
No.
But he's really good at it, and he's like an electrician by day and woodworker by night. I guess
he's a crafty individual anyway.
But like I'm kind of like somewhere in the middle. Like I have to really draw out the plans, but for him it's like he's just got it somewhere in the back of his head. Like he dated a girl once. And
cool story, bro.
Yeah. And one of the first things she said to him after they really got to know each other was, I didn't know before you that there were like different kinds of intelligence.
That's a good compliment right there.
Yeah. So I mean, well, that's completely true.
That's about what I do. It's like I'll have to show you guys some of the sketches that I make before I actually make the thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so clear in my head how I want to make it, so I'll just do like big doodles to try to figure out, should this be positioned here? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just put it over here. Maybe on the finished thing, I'll scoot it over even more.
Mm-hmm. And from the outside looking in, it's like,
how are you doing that?
It's like
it looks like a kid drew that.
It's like the scene from Close Encounters with the guy and the mashed potatoes.
Oh, the mashed potatoes.
This means something.
Means
Yeah.
something. Yeah, exactly.
It's not like that at all. But
Sorry. So like, you're doing. Well, one thing I want to ask you about is tell us about you had a competition or something recently to like raise awareness about your cosplaying. Is that right, or is that
like
wrong?
the
online competition? I saw you drawing a winner for something.
Oh, it wasn't really a competition. It was just like a
contest. Maybe it's a better
it
word.
was kind of like a contest.
Gotcha.
It was just like, share, and comment on the video of me
cool.
saying thank you.
Yeah.
And I'd draw somebody's name out, and whoever it was, I'd ship them a box. And thankfully, it was someone in the U.S.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I guess something like, was that like a helpful thing to kind of grow your page at all, or was that something?
Yes and no. It wasn't really meant to grow it as much as, just to let me see how many people are involved.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that just look. I'm one of those people.
I
Like
am too.
sometimes I'll just
Absolutely.
look like YouTube videos. I'll love it.
Yeah.
But I won't comment and I won't
yeah.
like. So that was just to kind of see where my audience was and see how many people were interested. And
That's
I had
cool.
to write so many of those stupid names down.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's a
it
good
was
problem
great.
to have.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we have a few different like we have a band page, we have a podcast page, and then like this business here, I run the audio like studio page, and it's so frustrating when it just feels like no one cares. I mean, even though like it says, so many 100 people reached this week, and like 5 likes, like
Sure.
It can be frustrating for, I mean, I guess something like that's just a way to kind of force their hand. If you show me that you're actually involved,
then I'll reward you.
I will give you some.
Yeah.
I'll give you a treat.
Yeah. It was kind of like that. I have a good response from my friends, but they'll just be like, "Oh, hey, I saw that thing that you posted the other week. It was great." I'm like, "Why didn't you say something?"
Yeah.
And the more people, you just have to know how to play the game on Facebook.
Sure.
Just because of the way the logarithms are, it's like
I have no idea.
You have to research that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's magic to me.
Is it the kind of? I was asking Will the other day, like, is it the kind of thing where the more kind of traffic you get, the more people will actually see it?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Zuckerberg.
Yeah, get with it, Lex Luthor.
Yeah. So
and the more people that do comment, the more people that see it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's one of the. It's like it's a catch-22 though.
It is.
It's absolutely.
Yep.
Like no one's gonna comment unless they see it,
and no one's
That's
gonna
not true.
see it
Even if
unless
they see
comment.
I know you listeners out there. You're not gonna comment on anything.
That's true. Well, dude, the thing is, I'm not. I mean, like what you were saying, I'm not probably gonna comment on anything.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I mean, we get plenty of downloads and listens.
Yeah.
And that's all from either like the podcast app or they see it on Facebook. And they click on the link and they download it.
And we totally appreciate it. Keep it
Thanks,
up, everybody.
guys. You
Thanks,
guys are
everybody.
awesome.
You guys are still here with us.
Do you ask them to comment?
We have
once.
Did it work?
We don't really ask.
No.
No, it was more of like a open for sort of discussion thing.
But,
we did
I think for a podcast though, it's a little bit more difficult because a lot of people who are listening to the podcast, like right now, I'm speaking into the future.
That's
right.
right.
See how that
That's
works?
right.
Are probably like in their car or walking to class or something like that on their podcast app, and they're like, "Guys, comment on it."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, maybe I'll do that."
And they're like, "Maybe I will later." And then like in this day and age, it's like out of sight, out of mind.
I gotta pay my bills or got to do something important.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm guilty.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. We all are.
We all are.
Yeah. That's just how.
But people on their computers have no excuse.
Yeah.
Exactly.
None whatsoever.
Are you listening on your computer right now? We can see you through your webcam.
Lazies.
Why are you doing that with
Get on
that
there
thing?
and like some stuff. Jeez.
3 people just got really paranoid.
Yeah,
exactly. We can see you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Yeah. So tell us about. We don't want to keep you forever, but tell us about.
Keep me forever. Yeah.
Tell us about your boxes that you're selling, right? That you're making.
I don't want to talk about
You
those.
don't want to? Okay, that's fine.
No, we can.
I thought that was something you were pushing. So if you're not, that's totally fine.
I am pushing them, but it's one of those monotonous jobs. It's like, I love the way they look.
Yeah.
But I spend so much time doing them. It's like whenever I'm out of the house, I leave my job.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not as much as it's not as exciting as cosplay. Like cosplay,
Sure.
I'm always working on something different,
something new,
like moving on to the next thing. With those boxes, it's the same thing
Yeah.
over and over, and it's like I make $45 a month at least.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
And it's sort of the
That's
same
a-
template. And
that's
whatnot.
way too
It's-
many-
Yeah.
like-
Gotcha.
That's way too many to make a month. Like that's
almost one a day.
that almost.
I'm just kidding.
almost 2 a day.
Wow, that's impressive. That's neat.
Well, everybody go check those out. Check those out and
Everyone go buy a
box.
Everyone buy a box.
Yeah.
And it will be
Etsy.com/shop/Black Label Goods.
There you go.
Black Label,
Label
Goods. And also, I mean, like working from home just kind of sucks. Well, I mean, it's kind of like people that, I love to work from home,
Yeah.
but it's so hard. Like I used to run a studio out of my house, and when I first started working here a couple of years ago, it was like, wait a minute, I can I can now make my home a place of rest and this a place of work, and completely, draw that line to where when I leave these, those doors, it's like a free-for-all. Like I can do whatever I want. I can relax. I can watch Netflix. I can watch Daredevil in April.
That's right. That's right.
I feel like YouTubers get that a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the ones that work from home. It's like work from their desk.
Right.
It's like, I would love to have a studio one day
when
I can afford it.
Right.
And have all access to every tool that I could ever dream of.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. One day.
For now, I sit on my couch.
You just got to sell more. You just got to sell more boxes.
Yeah, more boxes, everybody.
More boxes.
Yep. Guys, buy some boxes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change it up soon.
Oh yeah.
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 Are you change, or are you just adding to the pot?
Adding to the pot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you
got your best
tease that at all?
Yeah. I actually just had someone I posted on my page. They requested a box with a lock on it.
Okay.
I was like, all right. So now I got a lot of padlocks.
Nice.
And everyone's going to get a lock with keys.
Oh, cool.
If they order it.
Makes you wonder what they're putting in that box, though, right?
I just want to know if they're going to make it like buried treasure. It is a treasure chest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Go bury
They'll
it.
just be finding those all over America in like 20 years.
You're welcome, future.
Yeah, exactly.
The time capsule.
They'll
with
be like,
no keys.
was Zelda like a historical game? Or was that... I thought that was fake.
I have often wondered... like you have your Greek mythology, right?
Yeah.
And now we're like, oh, Greek gods, whatever. Like, that was cool. But, like, people back then were like, Greek gods. Like, it's thundering. That's obviously Zeus, you idiot, right? In the future, after all the apocalyptic stuff happens,
sure.
I don't know, maybe in 200 years from now,
Okay.
when the new people
Yeah.
have kind of come up from under the ground, there's been enough generations to where they've kind of forgotten, right, about our history because it all got burned up in apocalypse time. Except for, what's this? Oh, it's the basement of some like comic dude's house that was untouched. And what are the papers he has?
There you go.
He's got
history.
Superman. He's got the Batman. Oh, he's got this man that this jerk dude with a goatee that flies around in a colorful suit of armor. Like, oh, these must have been the gods of the gods of yore.
Or
right?
they'll think they devolved and like people used to be cooler.
Yeah.
People,
I like that version.
People used to be able to fly.
And then people will start. I've thought about this too much. People will start to try to achieve that, and sometimes I think that's what we're doing now. We're trying to achieve something.
Interesting.
With our magic phones and our tridents.
Sure, sure. I have both of those.
As do I. I actually.
You have a trident?
I was going to say.
Oh
My
well,
Aquaman,
yes.
yeah.
Clearly, you have a trident. That's right.
Let's see. Oh,
Joe's looking at his notebook.
I have a notebook.
It's getting real.
I keep notes in it. Now, I actually liked your page quite a while ago. The way I said it.
That
sounded,
sounds funny. I actually liked it quite a while ago.
Yeah, I don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
It might have been right after the con I saw you guys at. And you released like it was like a short film or something you did or acted in. Is that right?
Trunk?
Yeah.
Was it black and white?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that a kind of thing that you're interested in doing, like acting in short films and stuff?
That's kind of what got me started in cosplay.
Really?
That was one of the director was one of my friends that I did photo shoots for. Yeah, and he was like, "Hey, I need a girl actress. Would you do this?" I said, "No." It's like, "Okay, be at my house at 8." Never having acted before.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love the small crew kind of attitude and feel, and being creative entities with some of your best friends. I love that. I love the feeling.
Yeah.
Acting, I could take it or leave it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
But just being in there, creating something with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
We used to make movies like in high school, when
I've done it. Yeah.
I see that grin on your
know.
face. Like
Yeah, I know.
you know exactly the kind of movies.
How
they were
good
awful.
they must have been.
They were on the Handycam.
Yeah,
like
of course.
Too
you
bad
know,
we didn't have YouTube or Vine.
right.
Yeah.
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 But I mean, there is something about just one day saying we're gonna make this thing, and then you make it, you cut it together, and then like you have birthed something that what did not exist, and now it exists, right?
Yeah.
It's like writing, but like people care about it.
Not that many people care about it.
No, not that many.
No. But like, you're talking about acting and how you can kind of take or leave acting, right, or whatever. Well, last Halloween, as Joe was saying, was it Halloween we did it for? We made those costumes for? It was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we made costumes just for Halloween, you know. He did Arrow, and I did...
Well, we had planned on going to...
yes, a con.
What was it?
I don't remember which
but for
one.
whatever reason, we had to miss it.
Yeah, I can't remember what happened.
Because we were going to go costume 1.0 Halloween.
That's
and
right.
then like put in the extra effort.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I was going to finish the mask
Finish
and
it
stuff.
up and do
2.0
It
for
never
the con.
happens.
Exactly.
Never happened.
And
yeah.
he went as Arrow, Green Arrow, and I went as Captain America. So
and we went as a
crossover event.
crossover. We were a crossover
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
A universe.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But like when I was, you were talking about acting and how you like, you know, you can do it, but you're not super into it. It doesn't like fuel your fire. But when I was wearing the Captain America outfit, right? I mean, I definitely, you know, stood a little straighter, definitely a little more reverent of people. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. You know, that kind of thing. Definitely maybe felt a little more patriotic without even intending to, right? Do you find that when you're doing cosplay? Do you pick up on some of the like personality traits of the character just even accidentally or?
Not even kind of.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Negative.
Sometimes whenever you wear an outfit or a costume, it'll make you feel a certain way. Like Catherine, she's a succubus, and she wears basically, it's not lingerie, but it's like tiny skirt and a little tank top. You know, you're more aware of how you look. And so you portray them a little bit, but as far as like acting like them,
Yeah.
not even kind of.
Yeah.
I think I know too much behind the scenes.
Okay.
It's like I have to work on it so much. I think about how it looks
Okay.
rather than how the character is.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. Because I spent all the time making yours.
You did.
So you didn't
You
have
totally
to worry.
did.
Yeah. That's true.
You didn't have to worry about
How
that.
did you
Like,
feel?
Yeah.
Did you feel like the Green Arrow?
You kind of did.
Come on. I had the hood and the mask and everything,
Yeah.
though. So, like,
Yeah.
I didn't feel like the Green Arrow, but there were a few, like, after we had, like, a house get-together thing, and then after that, we kind of bar hopped a little bit. And after that, you know, I'd walk into a bar, and people were, like, saying, oh, it's the Arrow. It's the
Yeah.
Arrow. And I was like, I am the Arrow.
Well,
That's me.
Our buddy Jake was
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke. So you even had a villain hanging out.
Yeah.
You were like ready to
That's
go.
awesome.
I didn't
I
have a
was-
Red Skull hanging out
You
that I
didn't
could
have
punch in
Red
the
Skull,
face.
I just want to put it out there that I named my dog Felicity.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, we're huge Arrow supporters.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't get that feeling at all. If you're in a group, it's different. It definitely is
Oh, really?
different. Yeah.
Like group as in like just people you're with, or like group as in like you're doing like a
costuming together.
costuming together. Yeah.
Yeah, so the biggest group I've ever done was almost 30 girls. We did a Disney pinup group for Dragon Con.
Yeah.
And once you're with other people that are dressed in the same style that you are, from the same universe that you're in,
Gotcha.
definitely feels different.
Right.
And you kind of take on an aura. But you know, like the difference between Rebecca and Bubblesgal0re, like my
Yeah.
internet persona,
Right.
I already put on a persona whenever I go to a convention.
Oh, okay.
So-
Interesting.
I mean, it's still me, but I just have to think more publicly.
Right.
That's
Like
very
I have to
interesting.
think about what my character would do.
Yeah,
you know?
Sure. I
It's-
mean,
yeah.
it's the same thing. Like we used to be in a band that toured a lot, and when you are like on stage, like me, like as the singer of the band, there was a certain thing that would snap, and I would be like, I'm this other person
Yes.
right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm more confident. I feel like I can take charge of this audience.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was Joe,
Yeah.
I'm an introvert,
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So it's probably, that's probably
Totally.
a parallel there, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds like there is you're not playing Bubblesgal0re is not necessarily a character, right?
Yeah.
But you're being performative in some way.
Oh, yeah.
Probably. That's interesting. I hadn't even thought about that. That's very good.
So the Facebook is facebook.com/bubblesgalore.
Yeah.
Is that
Galore
what-
has a 0 in
Zero,
it.
right.
Yeah.
And you have like a Twitter handle and Instagram.
Same
and
thing.
Same
All
thing?
Bubbles Galore.
Oh,
Nice.
you grabbed it.
I
Nice.
did.
I don't think I've ever got every single social
Every
media.
single thing, all the way back to my last FM account in high school.
Oh, wow.
Nice. you really lucked out. My Instagram is Joe Stockton. My Twitter is Joseph J. Stockton because Twitter's been around longer. Do you find that like Twitter, for example, like Twitter is so much harder to get people to care about what you're saying than like Facebook? I wonder what that is.
Yeah.
I think it's because I only post Instagram pictures, and I tweet about Walking Dead. That's it.
Are you caught up on Walking Dead?
No.
Okay, I won't say
I
anything.
live tweeted last season.
Yeah, no
Gotcha.
spoilers.
But-
I'm not caught
This
up either.
season has been
But I read the comics up. I read the first 3 comics before the show started. So I was like, well, here goes the first couple seasons. I already know all the spoilers.
well. They've been playing it pretty well because the same things happen, but they don't necessarily happen to the people that happen to in the comics. So I don't want to say
Don't
any
tell
spoilers.
me. No
Don't spoil.
spoilers.
Well, yeah, okay.
That's descriptive. For people who have seen it, they know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. And it's clear
Let
what
me
you're
make
saying.
up a death.
Yeah.
Say somebody gets someone gets halved, right? Say Jerry gets halved
Jerry
in the
gets
comics.
halved. Jerry
Well, it's
Burgage.
actually Susan in the show that gets halved.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't. Susan. Susan doesn't
Don't know.
exist in the
I'm
show.
not sure.
She doesn't.
Yeah.
Do you read any comics or anything?
Not a whole lot. I did read a whole lot of manga.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's something I've never really delved
Delved.
into.
Nice.
Nice word choice. But I hear so many like people that like live and die, in that realm.
Well, you guys are asking me about what characters I usually do. I actually do a whole lot of everything.
Yeah.
I do a lot of gaming, mostly gaming, but I do anime characters, ones you've probably never heard of. The Serial Vampire.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. It's a chick
Okay.
flick.
Just because we've never heard of them, people listening have heard of
Yeah.
them.
Probably
For sure.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Exactly.
maybe.
Still worth saying,
Yeah.
even if we're like, okay.
I did Misery from that, and I did Lolita Inuyasha.
Okay.
And that's
What's
kinda
that
fun. Inuyasha.
Oh, okay. All right. Just kidding. I feel like when you were talking about molding your face, I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's okay.
One more thing I want to ask you about.
Okay.
And it's something I've been thinking about since the start of the podcast.
Mm.
You said you were a musician first. Do
Yeah.
you still play?
Not as much. Because my forte was 4-mallet marimba, and I don't have $6,000.
4-mallet marimba.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
That's something like in the school band I played the alto saxophone.
Oh.
Saxophone's cool. Come on.
Bill Clinton played the saxophone.
Will played the tuba.
I remember that from Animaniacs.
That's all right. Low brass. That's
Yeah.
where it's at.
That's
Low
right.
brass.
Low brass.
Um,
Gosh, I should have said low brass in high school.
you should have.
I
it.
said tuba. What was I thinking?
I played the sousaphone actually.
Yeah, it was actually a sousaphone.
But I've seen like people just completely shred with all the mallets,
Yeah.
and like it's mind blowing to me to see like the coordination, because like your target's like yay big or yay big, right?
Like
Just
2 inches to a quarter inch.
yeah, it's like
No, half an inch. Yeah.
Jeez.
I can't imagine. But then again, I'm not like very good at basketball either. So like that takes like a certain coordination.
Wait, what? Oh, I see.
Well, it's
Coordination.
muscle memory, and whenever you work on something like a 4-mallet piece, the marimba is 5 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to coordinate kind of like your dance, how you go from one end to the other end. And once you get the movement down, you can work on your placement of the mallets. Because it's not, you can't just, do you know what a marimba is?
Ish. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
okay. yeah.
Well, you know, like you can't hit where the strings are. You have to hit the sweet spot. So not only do you have to hit the right key, you have to hit it in the right place.
Yeah.
Right.
It takes a lot of patience.
Yeah, and in high school band, we had a big marimba, and all the non-percussionists before and after class would always get up there and just start banging around on it.
Yeah.
And so to that extent, you know, yeah, I know about the sweet spot there.
To that extent, yeah.
So mainly just like the marimba. Like, you ever play like...
That was my specialty. Like, that was the thing that I was the best at, that nobody else was great at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like solo marimba pieces.
Wow.
But I learned on the piano. That was my very first instrument. I played classical piano for 8 years, took lessons.
Wow.
And from there, I got into percussion. Oddly enough, the first thing that I ever played was the drums. I wouldn't play anything but the snare drum my whole first year of performing.
Yeah.
I was in 6th grade.
Nice.
Nice.
Got started early, and then I moved on, and I had to learn the keyboards. So I was like, okay, I'll play it. I'm the girl playing the dingy bells. This is awesome.
You're like a girl percussionist stereotype at this point.
Yeah. And then by that point, the guys have tasted the sweet taste of the snare drum, and you get to play so loud.
Oh, man.
But
It's the worst.
yeah,
Even guys who don't play snare drum in bands when they're in middle school and high school really want to, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
of course.
You wanted to be a drummer, but the band director's like, well, we need
Come
a baritone
on,
player. And then eventually he was like, we need a sousaphone player.
Yeah.
I was just so bad at everything else. They just stuck me in percussion like they usually do for like the people in marching band. Do you guys do marching band?
Yeah.
Yeah, like all the newcomers that are like, oh, we don't really have a spot for you on the
Throw
field.
you in the pit.
Stick them in the pit.
Yeah. Yep.
But no, in high school, we actually had a really great music program. We had an orchestra. We had the very first symphonic orchestra.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yep, in Kentucky. And I think that was my senior year. I did jazz band. I played set in jazz band, and I played the vibes. Not great at jazz keyboard.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, I played in jazz band for a while, and it's just a completely different monster to tackle.
I actually got a get out of improv free square card. They handed me a card that was a square.
Get out of improv.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
That's good.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to find that groove.
Yeah, that's right. I got to play bass in jazz band, so I kind of tried to redeem myself.
Yeah.
Redeem my loss of social capital from playing tuba.
I do like jazz vibes. I can get that. I can feel it. I can play the timbales. I can play all of the accessories, but some of it, the drums, it's like playing set, I have to focus on so hard anyway. I'm great at using sticks in my hands.
Okay.
But when you add the feet,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's tough. Definitely more than I expected.
Have you seen the videos of like the 3 to 5-year-old kids just like shredding on the drums? Like some people just have it. You know?
For
and
sure.
some people have a drum set at 3 in a studio.
That's true too.
That's true.
Yeah.
Good call. Man, how cool. You had an orchestra in high school.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We had an orchestra, and we had a strings program, which is separate, and then we had a symphonic orchestra, so that's small, kind of like a small band section, percussion, and orchestra. Yeah, it was lovely. And then I also played in youth groups that were not really local, but regional. We play in really just fantastic small ensembles.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I just kind of I found it. It wasn't like it came to me. It was like I went and sought out those specific experiences. Had to drive 45 minutes to Paducah.
Do you think, you said you haven't played recently, and for obvious reasons, right? Does sort of do the creative outlets you have now sort of scratch that itch for you? Like, do they, or is it a different thing?
It's completely different.
Is it?
Yeah. Making something in real life, like making an object, is very different than making something ephemeral like music.
Sure.
Because music, it doesn't you can record music,
Yeah.
but you can't
And
see
we
it.
do that here,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah. If you want to sound like the pros.
Yep.
but you can't see it.
Yeah.
So it's a very different experience.
Yeah.
Playing something live versus making something ahead of time, then showcasing it later.
Right.
Yeah, it's very different.
It'd kind of be like making your thing in front of a bunch of people, like just being exposed. I mean, that is compared to playing live.
I would do that, but people would be really bored. They're like, man, she's been painting that for 6 hours.
we
now.
been
I don't
here?
know, but like if you're like start to finish like 48 hours, like there's probably some crunch time in there that I think could be pretty interesting.
True. Yeah.
There is a special moment when everything comes together and you're like, oh, well, there you go. It's basically done now.
I just thought of a YouTube channel you should start.
All right.
It's going to be called, let's see, what should we call it?
I was going to say you named it too.
I don't know, maybe like really constrict yourself 1 hour cosplay. And
They
you
have a
to
show doing that. Yeah.
Too late, man.
My idea.
I don't like the show.
Is it?
Nobody heard that.
No one heard that.
Yeah.
That's good. But is it? What is like? My parents were saying there's a cosplay show like on television. Is that what you're talking about, or are you talking about a YouTube channel?
Oh no, they're probably talking about Heroes of Cosplay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That,
I've heard of that.
Yeah,
Is that
they don't
something-
really show the process
It's
there.
more
They
just
show
a-
the competition. This is different. I forgot who it is that puts this on, like hosts it. But it's like a competition. I think you get 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
And you have limited supply of materials.
Yeah.
You have limited tools. Yes. Okay. Oops. You have limited tools, and they will they'll judge you at the end of 4 hours and tell you if your thing was good. But for me, it's a little too hokey because there are specific characters from this specific game.
Oh, okay.
The sponsor.
Okay. It's like
Gotcha.
those.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it at like Hell's Kitchen or
I know what you're saying. The food show
where like you're making this style of meal? Here are your
Mm-hmm.
ingredients.
Yeah.
Wow us.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
But yeah, so you should start that YouTube channel. Even though,
Yeah.
but
Hey,
it
we'll
won't
have
be
you back on.
hokey
We'll have you
because
back
you
on
can
to promote
make
it.
what you want, and this is what it's going to do. It's going to encourage young new cosplayers to really get out there and just make something. This should be a video cosplay so people can see your face, just like, oh my god, shut.
Yeah.
Just 2 hours? How about 2 hour? 2 hour cosplay.
Okay,
Is
2
that
hours.
good?
Okay.
I think 2-day cosplay would be better, but
48 hour
we'll crunch
cosplay.
it. We'll crunch it.
Well, see, that my first thought was like, well, you limit yourself to 48 hours, but then like, you know, your video probably won't be more than like 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah.
You can
know?
do 48 hours and just show the highlights. I mean, you know, if you're
but
doing
then you have to go through 48 hours of footage.
True. Yeah.
I mean, I guess they just have to take your word that
Joe
you did
will
it in 48
Yeah.
hours.
Joe will edit it.
Yeah.
So we should tell people one more time before we wrap up where they can find you online. So you should plug that.
Make sure you say online where they can find you.
Online.
Where they can find you online.
Everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Tumblr, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the things.
Nice.
YouTube as Bubblesgal0re.
Bubblesgal0re.
Bubblesgal0re
With
with
a
a
zero.
zero.
With a 0.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
doing this.
Anything
I
else
appreciate
you
it.
want to
Thank
cover
you.
before we?
Yeah. Anything
wrap?
else we forgot to ask or that you want to plug or anything?
If you want to stick around for a couple minutes, I'll take you through the journey of being an amateur to being a guest. Do you want to hear that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So I'll get situated for this. The very first panel I did was at Derby City Comic Con in 2014.
Yep.
And before that, in March, I actually went to PAX East. Did not expect to get into PAX East, but we went there, grabbed some tickets off of some guys that were leaving for the night.
Yeah.
We were on the train. Me and my friend were up in Boston. We were like, hey, you have a Friday pass, but you're leaving. Can we have those passes? We're like, oh, yeah, sure. So they gave them to us. We went.
I've actually done that. I had to leave
Yeah.
early, and some guys like, can I have that? What am I going to say? No.
Yeah, of course.
Of course you can
Yeah.
have
Of course,
this.
man.
Like,
Of course.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we took those passes. We got into PAX East, and I met the people that I worked with later on. They were like, hey, do you want to come and cosplay for our booth and sell rings for us?
Nice.
Like, yeah, I want to do
Yeah.
that. And so I had that panel, kind of felt confident about
Yeah.
myself. The next con I had was Gen Con, where I was, I wouldn't say a booth babe, but I cosplayed for a company.
Yeah.
And then I went to Fandom Fest, and I just kind of walked around there as a civilian.
Yeah.
Yep, got a ticket from a friend who had an extra ticket. Just went, hung out. Then we went to Dragon Con. That was kind of exciting. I got my first professional photos taken at Dragon Con.
Nice. Yeah.
And that kind of got a little bit more intense. Made some more impressive costumes. Kept going. Went to PokeCon. Or not PokeCon. Comic-Con. Also kind of ran by the same people that do Fandom Fest.
Okay.
And we did... did we do a panel? No, I think I just went there and hung out, but I also got more professional photos taken. They have like photo booths at some conventions. And yeah, that was great. Locally, No Coast in New Albany, they did a great job.
Nice.
Yeah, setting up for that. And those photos got some more attention. And Kim actually really wanted to go to MagFest, and that's Malicious Cosplay.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know. I don't really want to go. It's a lot of money. And she kind of like nudged me into going. We stayed with Pixel Brain, the guys from Pixel Brain.
Yeah.
And now I'm a prop designer for them.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm in
Very
some
cool.
of their videos. And at MagFest, that's when we really got noticed. And they're like, oh, these girls with these Street Fighter Star Wars mashups.
Yeah.
And then it exploded from there.
Yeah.
Right before that, I asked to be a guest at PokeCon. And they were like, maybe. You
Yeah.
can come. You'll be an unofficial guest. And I judged their cosplay competition there. And they're like, oh, we want you back.
Oh, cool.
So I'm actually going down to the Sakoshi Con in Atlanta to be a guest for them.
Oh, awesome.
Coming up in 2 weeks.
Oh, in 2 weeks?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
That's great.
it just keeps snowballing.
For sure.
Yeah. And then from at KatsuCon, that's right after KatsuCon is when we got shared by everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Nice.
it's just like a very slow paced crawl to the top.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely worth it though.
So they can see you there in 2 weeks. Are there other places where you're going to be doing that coming up that you can think of?
I will not be a guest at some of them, but I'm also
Okay.
going to Colossal Con.
Okay.
It's in
Cool.
Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm going to another Sakoshi Con in Bowling Green. I will be a guest there and
Okay.
a judge.
Cool.
I will be going to Derby City Comic Con as a guest.
Nice.
And
nice.
a judge.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll be there again.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll
For sure.
see you.
We'll see you.
And then, I forgot that one in Pittsburgh. We'll be going to that.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
We'll announce that one later.
And they can check all your online presence for that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, that's awesome.
There you go.
That's fantastic.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. It's been
Yeah.
fun.
Thank you.
I
for having me.
think we've definitely learned a lot, and I'm sure
Oh, yeah.
a lot of our audience has learned.
Yeah,
They probably knew more than us, but
yeah,
they've
and-
learned too. Well, we'll try this sign off. We try it every time. We'll see how it goes. You done good, Joe.
You done good, Rebecca.
Thank you.
All right.
I kind of like that ending.
I do too. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
What's that term?
Duct tape Captain America.
I was going to say.